How much money does Nick spend a week on quadcopters?
Don't ask that.
Way too much money to ever count for anything.
I'm Travis Grindle. I'm out here today with Nick Lightner, and we're out here talking to him today about his racing, about his recent sponsorship, and about some of the ideas on where he thinks the hobby's going to be going soon. And we used to race back, a year and a half ago. When we got started, we'd race and I'd stomp him every race, and now I don't win anymore. I don't think I've beaten Nick in the last like 5 races we've had. It's so aggravating, but he's a really good pilot, so it's good for him. Anyway, Nick, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Like Travis said, my name is Nick Lightner. I go by LightsOut on multi-GP. I got into this hobby by getting hurt in flag football and realizing that's not the way I want to go. So I called up, well, let me rephrase that. I started hanging out with a buddy that used to fly PGIs, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I made fun of him for a little bit, so I bought like a toy one, cracked it in 3 days, and called Cody Matson when he was working at Voodoo and said, hey, what should I get? He told me all about it. I bought it ready to fly. I started flying, went FPV, all because of Travis Grindle. I went out to Topeka and did an event with him, and they said, here, put these goggles on. And I think I was about 100 to 150 feet in the air, and they're like, you're really high. I was like, no, I'm close to the ground. So then they had me shooting gates. So the first gate I did, it was awesome, changed my life. So then I had to go ask some permission from the girlfriend to drop about 350 bucks for some goggles.
So what quads have you been flying recently? And which ones did you kind of learn on?
This frame right here is called the Orion 190X. I am currently on this setup. I run 20 amp BL Heli S ESCs, 2300, 2204 X Nova motors, which these are my first ever X Nova motors, and I am absolutely in love with them. I've been kind of flopping back and forth between Gem Fan PC props and the Racecraft props, which they're stiffer by far. This, I'm running the Lumineer VTX in the back with this. I'm also running, if you can see deep down in there, it's the D4R S-Bus receiver for my Tyrannus with the Lux flight controller on race flight and the Maytac PD board. Everything you can get except for the Lux controller at GrabTechRC. And then I run the Foxier HS1177 in the front, which is also protected by horns that I would highly suggest you get from GrabTechRC as well. Because I say that, I hit 2 gentlemen while racing, and I decided to hit one so hard that it knocked my camera back into my VTX by pulling out a wire, and I had no video. So I had to go back to another frame during a race and try to repair this, and all in about 5 minutes between races.
So when you were learning to fly, what's one of the hardest things you struggled with learning to fly?
That's kind of hard. I was a gamer, so picking that up was pretty easy. It's more so the tuning aspect.
Oh, yeah.
I struggle with tuning. A lot of people will hate on me probably for saying this, but I run race flight now. I prefer race flight. For instance, with this frame, I run a Lux board, which I know it's not an F4 processor. You can hate on me for that too, but all I did was bump I on this, and I feel it more locked in than any frame I've ever flown. And it's on brain drain, settings, and all that.
So what are some of the things that you struggle with today in terms of flying, or maybe even the hobby in general?
Fixing and repairing and downtime is my biggest problem. For instance, if you ever saw my girlfriend, she would tell you that she never sees me on the weekdays.
And how much time does he spend a week repairing quadcopters?
I would estimate probably 3 hours a night, so probably 15 hours in a work week.
So that's my biggest problem with this hobby, but it's the main thing that you have to do. You have to fix and repair all the time. That's just part of the hobby.
Do you have any good recommendations for new pilots? Because I get asked a lot about, you know, what kind of frame should I buy? Is this a good one for beginners? Do you have any recommendations?
Anything 4mm or 5mm will take your abuse. I know GrabTechRC is carrying a new frame from Lightner, which is called the spec frame, I would believe. It's 147 grams, just the frame only, but it's 4mm, and there is a limited lifetime warranty on that.
Nice.
You'd have to read up on the warranty, but Lightner makes a good frame, and GrabTechRC is the one who's carrying it. And you can also buy a 10-pack for like your if you have a group, like for instance an RKC FPV group, and then you can customize the top plate with whatever you want. So if we wanted to buy for about, I think, 40 bucks a piece of frame, which it comes out to about 400, you can buy something with your like KC FPV on top of your frame. So everybody has their own frame, and it makes basically makes the racing just like the DRL league.
Nice.
So it kind of just makes it all level on the playing field.
It would also look good for inter-chapter races too.
Exactly, exactly.
Nice. So you've mentioned GrabTech quite a few times today. Tell us a little bit about your sponsorship.
So my sponsorship kind of consists of helping people more than anything. GrabTechRC, Nick and Aaron, who run GrabTechRC, are a bunch of awesome guys. They like to help anybody and everybody. So when I was flying more than anything, I talked to Joel B from Florida, and he kind of gave me some hints about getting sponsored. Just have fun, fly, and film everything you do. So I took his advice, and I just started having fun more than anything, breaking a lot of stuff, but still having fun, posting my videos, and GrabTechRC decided to sponsor me.
So what kind of things does GrabTechRC specialize in?
Pretty much anything quad related. They're really into, they have a lot of ready to flies at a reasonable price. So if you're new and you're looking to get in the hobby, I would definitely send them an email. They'll work with you on a 210 to a Flynoceros to a ZMR, and it's all ready to fly. They carry X-Nova motors, Emax motors, BL Heli-S, Little B's. Anything you can think of, they probably have it. They have a lot of 3D printed, so like my goggles are behind me, but I have 3D printed parts for my little forge I got through them.
So what was one of your most memorable events from recent times?
That would be the worst. It started the month downhill fall for me. Really struggled. It was the multi-GP regional finals, which was, I would believe, last month. It was up in Iowa. I went up Friday. I took the whole day off. I started flying. I put in probably with the Orion about probably 2 or 3 packs, and I noticed that my ESC was spudding out. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll just take it apart and I'll go to the Voodoo. So I went home, like I went back to the hotel, and I hung out with some people, and I started switching some components around. Went to the race. We ran 3 practice heats that day, and then a random rainstorm came through. Well, my buddy's tent was set up, and Will Dobbins' tent was set up. I had my stuff on my table. Well, when they dropped tents, I looked over, and all my gear was sitting out in the rain. So I didn't think anything of it. I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna put in 1 lap in this practice heat. I don't wanna crack my frame, do anything stupid before the regionals start. So, needless to say, I started the course. I had perfect vision. I went up over the top gate, and I went green to black. So I shot up high to kind of hide myself from hitting somebody because I didn't know where I was, and I got picture back. Well, whenever I got picture back, I figured I'd try to air it out. When I aired it out, it shorted it. So next thing I know, my quad fell out of the air. I have now 2 broken quads, and it comes to the second race because I'm trying to figure out how to fix it. So thank God Rodrigo, who's from our group, the KCFPV, was up there, and he had 2 quads. Decided to hand me one of his quads and say, try to race with mine to put laps in because I don't want to see you come here without no laps. Which I have nothing but respect for that gentleman because of his sportsmanship. And I think since that, me and him have become closer friends than anything. And so I decided to race. Well, I got halfway through the course and I went through the 3 gates, and the last gate, his PIDs are a lot touchier than mine. mine, and I smacked the gate and I put it down, so next race came up. I made it halfway through it, and I hit another gate, and I was like, all right, I'm not gonna wreck your stuff anymore. Here it is, thank you very much for letting me try it. And I came home discouraged with a 3-hour car ride home and spent a month and a half rebuilding this frame and completely rebuilding the Voodoo 210 to everything being basically brand new. So my experience with that has been the worst experience so far in this hobby.
So besides the regional finals race, what other races have you participated in recently? And how well did you do?
Well, I usually try to make a few trips up to Omaha and Iowa, and a few of my recent races have been up in Iowa. I've placed second behind Skyler, who is an extremely good pilot. I've also, the last race we had was last week here at KCFPV. We had our first time ever basically tied up runoff, which was awesome. I was in that. I placed 5th because I screwed up over a gate. I'm gonna take 5th, and I'm gonna be happy with it because I was behind Brian Morris, Rigo, Akeem, and Michael, who are all great racers in our group.
They're all fast.
Yeah, super fast. I love it. I love the competition, and I think because of that, Travis has asked me my experiences in that runoff, and I said let's do it every race because it's an adrenaline rush. You have 2 to 3 laps to get. You got to be on top of your game in those 2 to 3 laps, which is awesome. I love it.
Oh, do you have any future predictions on hardware, motors, or ESCs, or any other direction about where the hobby may be going soon?
Well, yes, it's already taking off. For instance, HD's already here. I haven't tried HD due to the price. I've watched a lot of videos with HD, which is awesome. Raceflight has their own board coming out with absolutely no interference through the gyro, which I've already pre-ordered one. I'm waiting for that to come in. It comes out October 5th. Motors are just, I'm running 2300 kV motors. I'm interested to try the 26 to 2700 kVs. So motors are just getting so much faster. Your ESCs are getting a lot smoother. Like for instance, BL LES is the smoothest I've ever seen so far.
Yeah, I'll bring the price up. Like if people don't know, that's an issue right there. It's expensive to get in this hobby, you know? I think people don't realize how expensive it is and how much it costs, and not only money, but how much it costs in time and effort. You know, you're not gonna just pick one of these up and know how to fly it the first day.
No.
You're gonna have to be dedicated to figuring it out.
I wanted to tell everybody to check out GrabTechRC on their Instagram page and their Facebook page. If you haven't liked their Facebook page, they usually do giveaways. So currently right now, they need, I think, about 25 to 20 more people to like their Facebook page, and they're going to give away a frame and some props. So usually what their giveaway means is if you like their Facebook group and you want to try to participate, just pay attention. They usually give good posts out, and you comment on like a number between, I think, 1 to 10,000. And they keep monitoring, and then after that, they go through and they pick their winner. But check out their Facebook and Instagram pages. They always have funny stuff on there. And also, don't forget to check out GrabTechRC.com. So, since Travis has decided to do this video, I made a few calls, and GrabTechRC wanted to give him his own personal shirt, if I can open it up correctly. Just like what I've been wearing. So here you go, Travis.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it.
So now we can be matching.
Oh, yes.
We can be brothers at the races.
So this has been Nick Lightner. It's been fun racing with him. It's been fun beating him, and then now getting beat by him a lot. Now I just try to get in his way and wreck him. That way I can always win. And it's been somewhat successful, mostly not. But Nick, it's been nice talking to you today.
It's always a pleasure, Travis.
And hope to see you at the races again soon.
Yes.
And big thanks to GrabTechRC for sponsoring Nick and for this awesome t-shirt.
Yes, thank you guys so much. So, we'll see you guys.
If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments and we'll try to get Nick to answer them for you.
Yeah, please do. I'm always down to answer questions. You can edit that part out.
Okay, anytime.
control.
You tell them like it is.
Doesn't follow directions.
Why is that when I get?
You wouldn't let me.
That's what you get, Nick. That's what you get for trying to fly under the swings.
Yep.
Swings are for kids, not for quads.
Yeah, but I got some good footage right there.